Well, hello and welcome to the All Things Leeds podcast, or the ATL podcast. It is episode 8. As always, thank you for tuning in, downloading and listening. We really do appreciate it. I hope you're all okay. If you haven't heard of me before, I am Ed. As always, for these podcasts, I am joined by my good friend, Charles Foster. How are you, Charles?
I'm doing alright, mate. A little bit tired, though.
Yeah, early morning start this morning. But me and Charles are joined by a special guest in the studio today. All will be revealed after this introduction. But in this podcast, we will, of course, be going over Leeds United's 1-1 draw away at Middlesbrough last Saturday. Calvin Phillips scored a 100th minute equaliser to salvage a point for Leeds in that game. We'll also go over the Leeds United 23s as they lost 1-0 on Tuesday away at Sheffield Wednesday. Izzy Brown went off during that game, but he will feature on Wednesday night, as of course Leeds United do host Swansea City at Elland Road. We'll be previewing that game towards the end of this episode. All of this coming up. Well, as I mentioned in the introduction, me and Charles are joined by someone in the studio today. Our second ever guest. We welcome on Kev Markey. Kev Markey, how are you?
Good morning, guys. Yeah, great to be here. It's interesting times at Elland Road at the moment, and 15 games to go. Well, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Are you, Charles?
Yeah, love the stress of it.
It's going to be interesting, certainly. It's going to be interesting, certainly. But a lot of people will recognise you, Kev, as Leeds United Mad on Twitter,
that's right, yeah.
and for your website. Just tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, I've been running a website for a number of years now, when we used to be in the Premier League before, actually. I think it all started, so that's a very long time ago. And got some good followers, made a lot of good friends out of it as well over the years, and it's a nice thing to do, nice communication. There's nothing nasty about, all the messages that I get. They're all positive, usually, so it's a good... It's a good handle to have, Leeds United _mad, Leeds United Mad website. So yeah, it's great to be involved really in it all.
And how does the website do? What kind of stuff do you post in there?
Well, obviously we do match reports, usual gossips, opinions about what's going on in the season. Obviously we're independently run. Nobody tells us what to do or say, so it's a great website to run. And obviously we have guests involved with it as well, during the course of the season. So it's always something. There's always some new story coming out from Elland Road, whatever happens. So it keeps you busy. There's no week the same, and it's really fun to run. Yeah,
and I am an aspiring sports journalist. So if you need any writers for your website,
anytime, Ed. Yeah, I'll have to check your work out first to see what it's like. But yeah, we'll talk about that afterwards, maybe. Yeah.
Well, I looked on Twitter this morning. You've got 20.8 thousand followers.
Yeah.
How long did it take you
to
build that up?
Popular. I'm just a popular guy.
Mr. Popular.
I don't know. I suppose with you having Leeds United in your title, you're going to get Leeds United following you anyway, but irrespective of what you write about, because it's just Leeds United. That's the impact the club has on all over the world, really. So over the years, it's started really slowly, then it's sort of built over the last sort of 10 years to 20,000. So for an independent sort of organisation, it's a pretty good following, really.
Yeah, really good, really good.
Yeah.
You do some work with the Leeds United Trust. We'll get onto that in a second, but I really want to know, Kev, when did it all start for you as a Leeds United fan? What's your earliest memory? Do you remember your first game?
Yeah, sort of obviously mid-70s, really, I suppose. My first ever game was Billy Bremner's testimonial game against Sunderland when we just won the title that year, which... It's all a bit hazy now because obviously I was very young, believe it or not, in those days. But obviously, when you supported Leeds in those days, this just seemed very invincible, that nobody was going to beat them. This seemed to be the best team around, which was great. So I was sort of lucky, really, to be involved in such a good time when, they were sort of beating all the teams that they played and doing well in Europe. Obviously, we won't mention 1975 because that's a bit of a stain. Nobody likes to talk about that. No. But overall, we were winning lots of things in those days, and it was great to be part of the Leeds United following in those days. And obviously, I was a young kid going down to Elland Road, and we were a very good football club in those days. I obviously went through the 80s was a bit of a starvation diet for Leeds fans, which, Division 2 football, meagre 10,000 crowds. Then we came back again with Wilco, late 80s, early 90s, and we sort of built a good foundation again, which sort of withered away after David O'Leary came. So talk about ups and downs. The song says it all, really.
Yeah.
I've seen loads of ups and I've seen loads of downs.
Yeah, really good in the 70s, not too great in the 80s, picked up again in the 90s, in the early 2000s, then we just
that seems to be Leeds at the moment. Yeah, peaks and troughs, as they say, and hopefully we'll go through another peak soon. So all the young followers that we got now will realise that we can play in the Premier League, and we do appear on Match of the Day occasionally.
Yeah, we've not been so lucky with our support. In our time, we've supported.
No, we started supporting back when Leeds United were in League One, so no one can tell us that we were close supporting.
That's kudos to you guys then for actually following the club when they were actually League One. So that is more, respectable, if you like, or more impressive that you actually did follow them in those days. If we were a League One team back in the 70s, I don't think there'd be as massive a following as there is now, because we sort of built that history in the 60s and 70s, and that's what a lot of people do remember from my generation.
Yeah, definitely. What's your highlight supporting Leeds? For your time supporting Leeds, what sticks out to you that I'm always going to remember that time, that era?
I suppose it's got to be the 91-92 season, really, because every game was just a special game, and obviously when we signed Gordon Strachan the season before, or a couple of seasons before, he just transformed the club. He became the captain. Everybody thought he was past it. He was in his 30s. We signed him from Man United. Sorry for mentioning that club on this line here, but they've got to be mentioned now and again. He was a brilliant signing. He transformed the club with Wilkinson. Became the PFA Player of the Year. He was just an absolutely brilliant player for us, just like Billy Bremner was in the 60s and 70s. And 91-92 just sticks out as a glorious season when we won it quite comfortably. I thought everybody thought, Man United lost it, but we won it fairly comfortably in my eyes. And you just thought after 92, but where's it going to go now? It's surely it's on the up now.
Yeah.
But even though we had a good few seasons in the Premier League after that, things started to dwindle. But going back to your original question, I suppose 91-92 is always going to stick up there as a fantastic memory.
Yeah, that was great. I wasn't born then, but I certainly remember that because when I was growing up, I had a DVD of the 91-92 season, and I watched that so many times.
Yeah,
and just watching the Leeds fans with all the flags, it just made me fall in love with Leeds United. Really, I would go into games not often. I won't go into every home game. Go to the odd one or two, but smelling the grass and stuff, which is getting the love of football. But watching that 91-92 season DVD.
Well, we only lost 4 games that season. Absolutely amazing. We were only promoted. That were our second season in the old First Division, if you like. Season before we finished I think we finished 4th. Which is unbelievable for a club that's just been promoted from the second division. So we had 2 great seasons. One was laying the foundation to obviously us winning the league, the last real champions, as people say, back in 92. Before, obviously, football really started with Sky TV, as everybody knows. Before that, football didn't really exist, did it? After that, before that.
Did you see that? Did you see that documentary, the Do You Want to Win? On Amazon.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Yeah, all the interviews with all the ex-players and stuff, and they get Wilco on. It's really good. It's well worth a watch if you've not seen it.
Yeah, definitely.
Sorry for interrupting.
No, it's all right. But I think Wilco was hard done by in the end, though, because he was sort of sacked after the. I keep mentioning him, but I keep apologising to Leeds United fans. After losing 4-0 at home to them down the road, the M62, he was sort of sacked, and we just got rid of him. But I think it might have been too early to do that. Managers do go up, through sort of periods when they're not doing too well. I think he should have been given a bit more time, I think. But
yeah, definitely.
Just like Ferguson was when he joined Man United, he went through a barren spell, but they stuck with him, and obviously we knew what happened after that. But we went through a few managers after Wilco, and hopefully we've reached a point now where we have got a really good coach in charge, and hopefully we can take it on from there.
Yeah, definitely. But back onto that 91-92 season, you're mentioning the players. Now, if you're watching on the YouTube, you'll notice that we're in the studio with the LS11 podcast. We just recorded him with Tony DeVigo. I got a chat with Tony DeVigo. That was mental.
Yeah,
20 degree got at my university, but he was some player, wasn't he?
Oh, he was one of the best left backs around at the time. Yeah, definitely. He was very composed, very fast, which is a great attribute for a left back. Yeah, and he scored a couple of good goals as well during his time at Leeds, and fond memories of Tony. Yeah, he was a great player. Yeah,
and for your first season at a club to win the First Division, and then Fans' Player of the Year, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, it shows you, he did ingratiate the Leeds fans because he was one of these guys that sort of stood out in the team. Very composed, like I said before, easy on the eye when you watched him play. He sort of great at tackling, dispossessing people. Yeah, he was a great player. It's just a shame at the time that Stuart Pearce was the main sort of England left back at the time. Otherwise, I think he would have got a lot more caps than what he did for England.
Yeah, definitely. Well, before we crash back down to reality and how poor Leeds United are currently, Kev, let's talk about the work that you do at the Leeds United Trust. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, I've been on the Trust board now since about October, and they've been heavily involved in a lot of things over the last few months. One of the big things is the food banks at the club. Obviously, before the game starts, there's a food bank collection before every home game, and we've been doing really well with all the collections we've had for all the underprivileged families in the Leeds and surrounding areas. And I think last time we got well over 40 crates of food, which is fantastic. Collected a few £100 as well. And everything goes to all the needy people in the area, which in this day and age you shouldn't really be doing, I know, because, things like that shouldn't happen these days, but unfortunately they do, and a lot of clubs have taken it on board, including Leeds, and it's a very important thing, a part of the club now. Like I said before, every home game that we do a collection outside Billy's statue, so if anybody's going to the game tonight, bring an item of food with you. It could be, a tin of fruit, tin of dog food, whatever. Obviously dogs need feeding as well for families, and just bring anything down with you that you can, and everything helps.
Yeah.
So the food bank's been great. Obviously, we were behind the Albert Johansson plaque as well. Albert Johansson, one of the first sort of African players to play in the league, one of the first to play in an FA Cup final. I think he was the first, back in '65 against Liverpool. We arranged a plaque with the Leeds City Council, and it was unveiled recently, I think before the Derby game, and it stands outside the main entrance now, which members' fees have sort of contributed towards that. So if you're not a member of the Trust, obviously look at the Leeds United Trust website and consider joining us. It's only £10 a month, and everybody's welcome to have a say in what we do.
Yeah, definitely. Great work that the Trust are doing, especially with the food banks. Really do. I admire the work that you're all doing. But let's go on to Leeds United's game last Saturday then. 1-1 draw away at Middlesbrough thanks to a 100th minute equaliser from Calvin Phillips, the latest goal ever scored by a Leeds United side. That's some incredible start. It
is a good start, yeah. Obviously, the extra time happened because of what happened on the sidelines, but it's awful what happened to Jack Clark on Saturday. Hopefully he's recuperating okay now. But yeah, it was an unbelievable ending to the game. And it was fully deserved, to be fair, because we were battering them second half, and we deserved to score. Their goalkeeper Randolph was having a worldie, really, and we could have won by 2 or 3, I think, in the end. But I was watching it at the Beanback at Elland Road with a few thousand others, and when he equalised Phillips, it was just like we won the game. It was absolutely amazing scenes. But it was such an important point, and obviously, rather than losing, we're going into tonight's game with a bit more heart now, and hopefully we'll take that second half performance in tonight's game at Elland Road against Swansea. Yeah, definitely. Well, before we digest the Leeds United game of the weekend, of course the added time did come from unfortunate scenes with Jack Clark, who fell ill on the Leeds United bench, was taken to hospital. He's now out of hospital. They're keeping an eye on him, but it does sound as though he is doing well, which is a good thing. And the main aim is just that Jack Clark gets better now. It's definitely. What happened. It was amazing scenes actually, because the commentator was saying that Izzy Brown was on the sideline trying to get somebody's attention, and the commentator thought he was trying to get onto trying to come onto the field as a sub, but we'd used all 3 subs already. So God knows what the players must have been thinking, during that period, because there was an 8-minute delay, I think, And it's a bit hard to get back into a game when something like that happens.
Yeah, definitely.
So to play another 12 minutes thinking, is he okay, what's happened? It was difficult for the players to sort of focus, but thankfully they managed to do so, and they managed to get, like I say, a decent point at a hard ground.
Yeah, Janssen was saying that the players were a little bit distracted when it was going on. Well, I saw plenty of Middlesbrough fans moaning about the amount of extra time, but there was at least a minimum of 4 minutes of it would have been anywhere, and then plus the 80 minutes.
Yeah.
Makes 12, doesn't it, really?
I think it was fair, really, like I say, but obviously I think they were just upset that we equalised it so late into the game, but obviously, like you said, I think 4 minutes was set as the time anyway.
Definitely.
And 8 minutes was the delay, so they should do what they do in rugby union, really, just stop the clock and then continue when play starts. And there's no...
there's no argument.
There's no argument about the time at all then, but obviously I don't think there was anyway, to be fair. I think it was just nitpicking by the Borough fans because they were sort of 90 seconds away from a famous victory, really.
Yeah, I mean, I think we probably would have been complaining as well if we had just conceded on the 100th minute of a game.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think that's likely to happen in a lot of games, is it?
And thankfully, we've been on the right side of plenty of 90th minute goals this season, rather than on the wrong side.
Yeah, I think somebody put a stat out on Twitter that we've been involved in sort of 7 extra time goals this season.
I think only Norwich have more.
Yeah. We can't beat Norwich at anything at the moment, can we?
The important thing is we beat them at their own ground.
Yeah.
Yes, 3-0 as well.
Well, we did to them what they did to us, basically.
Yeah, but we scored and they didn't.
Yeah, so we won 4-3 on aggregate, basically.
Yeah, I'm going to say that. A lot of these fans like the aggregate score 4-3. Beating Norwich. But yeah, I won all draw away at Middlesbrough. A good point away from home, I feel.
I think so, because obviously a tough place to go. I mean, I admire he's getting a lot of stick at Borough at the moment with the way he plays football, but he knows how to get clubs promoted, that guy. Whether he's entertaining or not, he gets them up.
It's not entertaining, though.
It's not it's not entertaining.
Awful football.
I'm glad he's not at our club, but I do admire him for what he said after the game as well. When they asked him about the 12 minutes, he just totally dismissed it and said, the main concern is the young lad, Jack Clark. Hopefully he's better. I'm not really interested in the 12 minutes.
Yeah, fair play to him.
Even before the game as well, we were full of praise for Leeds United and Bielsa.
Yeah.
A lot of respect for Tony Pulis. He knows how to get a job done.
He's an old school manager, and he just gets the job done, whether you like him or not. He's just one of those old school managers who says it as it is, basically. Yeah. Whether he'll be at Middlesbrough next season, whether they get promoted or not, is another matter. But he does a job, then he sort of moves on to another club. Just a bit like Allardyce, I suppose. He's not everybody's favourite cup of tea, but he does a job and then moves on to another club.
Yeah, exactly. Going back, you mentioned Sam Allardyce there. I mean, he went to Everton, finished 8th, and then didn't get the job because it wasn't like the style of play. The style of play is just for me.
Well, apparently his record is better over the same amount of games as Silva. So
it is. Well, speaking of Everton, I mean, Marco Silva, he's been under fire, and apparently Everton are in for Marcelo Bielsa. According
to the Daily Mirror, which pinch
of salt.
It sounds like a bit of an easy story to put out, doesn't it? Oh yeah, Everton are after Bielsa. All right, yeah, fair enough. We'll see what happens.
No, it'd be pressure on Silva, and someone will have gone, hang on, who's doing pretty well at a club so far? Bielsa at Leeds doing pretty well, isn't he? All right, put that in a headline.
It'll be Chelsea next. Trying to get
Chelsea. Yeah, a good point away from home for me. It was a good start to the game, I felt. It did turn into probably one of the worst halves of football again that we've seen. I'm fed up of these awful first halves.
Yeah, we started off brightly, then we let him into the game, and Flinch had 2 glorious chances, with headed chances.
I don't know how he shot. To be fair, Shotton's one was worse.
That was probably the worst miss.
That was an open goal, and he was about 2 yards away from burying that, and he fell over.
Thankfully, he's not a renowned goal scorer. Otherwise, he might have done better there. But yeah, they had too many chances, really, like you said in the first half. Bamford, though, he had 3. I would say 3 glorious chances. You'd expect a player of that quality to stick one of them away at least.
His second half one was the worst. It was an open goal.
Yeah. I don't know. He seems to be rushing. It might be funny for him playing at Borough, I suppose, when he scored a hat-trick against us last season. Returned to the club again. He must have felt a bit strange because it was only his second start of the season in the league, so he must. But then again, you expect a player of that quality. I mean, the goals he's got so far, the one against Norwich was great, the way he took it, And obviously the one at Bolton, he was a goal scorer's finish, so you would have expected him to took one of those chances.
He did say he wasn't 100% fit though, so
yeah, he's not match fit, is he?
Yeah, you can kind of excuse a bit of rustiness with the amount of time he's been out. But yeah, I think he'll crack on now. The thing is though, whether or not this Roof at number 10 thing will work, I'm not so sure.
I thought Roof was quite lively first half on Saturday. He touched the ball more times than he did in his previous 3 games, I think, in the first 20 minutes.
He gets a bit isolated up front of his own, does Roof, because he's not that big.
But the Bamford Roof sort of combo didn't really work as expected, I suppose, against Borough. But they are if you look at Borough's defence, they're an awkward team to break down.
Well, they have the best defence of the league.
Yeah. I mean, they've only scored, 15 goals at home this season, which is pretty meagre for Borough fans.
It tells you what to do. They did it against us. They score 1 goal, go ahead, and then they just sit back.
I can't believe how much they sat back second half, though. They had 10 men behind the ball for about 40 minutes. Yeah. As soon as they scored, they just saw, let's retreat now. And defend a
1 goal lead.
No.
That's the way Middlesbrough like it, though. Yeah. They did it with Karanka. They just like to 1-0 their way to promotion. Yeah. They don't like to go out and have a go to smash somebody.
And to be fair, it nearly worked. But obviously, with those extra minutes, we got our we got our reward, I suppose. It was great for Phillips to get his first goal of the season as well.
Yeah, definitely. But going into the second half of the game, then at half time, Jack Clark went off for Pablo Hernandez.
Yeah,
a good substitution there. Pablo Hernandez changed the game. Really.
Well, I thought, it was great that Pablo came on, but it was a bit of a shock. At the time, I was surprised that Clark had been taken off. Well, we're looking at my son at the time. So
of course, there must have been.
When he said Jack, I thought, Jack Harrison's coming off like he usually does. Oh, Jack Clark's come off. Jack Harrison's hardly done anything, but Clark was pretty lively, I thought, first half. But then obviously when you found out what happened, you realised.
Yeah, was he feeling a bit unwell at half time?
But Pablo, I think he touched the ball more than any Middlesbrough player in the 45 minutes he was on the pitch for which says a lot about Pablo. I know the commentator was criticising him. Eddie Gray was criticising him for the goal. Says, he let his marker go for the cross, but he'd literally been on the field 30 seconds. Give him a bit of time to get into the game. You know what I mean?
It was more Luke Ayling getting drawn into the centre of the pitch, and then Calvin Phillips not tracking.
Phillips blamed himself, to be fair to him.
Well, he should have tracked him back.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, it's unfair to point that goal down that we conceded early on in the second half to one player. I think it was just an overall it was a few players'
faults. Yeah,
Phillips.
But Pablo, I agree with you. Pablo did transform the game second half though, because some of his balls don't come off. Granted, but when they do come off, they make a difference.
I mean, he's the most creative player, probably not just in this Leeds United team, but in the Championship.
I think we're so lucky to have that guy at Elland Road. We just take him for granted now that he's there, but he's another Gordon Strachan type player. Mentioning Gordon before, he just changes games with a ball or a goal, basically. He's just brilliant.
He's got the most assists in the league, does Hernandez, at the moment. I think
he's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's 12.
And when we don't have Pablo Hernandez, that we don't have Pablo Hernandez. If you get what I mean, like
there's always a groan in there when he's not named in the line. I know Marcelo likes to name his team about 72 hours before the game these days.
What do you make of that in revealing his lineup?
It's just not bothered, is it?
Do you think it's a good thing though? Do you think it is?
I don't personally. I like the anticipation an hour before the game to find out what the team is. He's taken that away from us now. We like a good moan an hour before. What? He's not picking him. What's he doing? We like a bit of a moan before the kick-off. But now you got 72 hours to stew over it, haven't you?
There's no better feeling than when you moan about a lineup and then we go out and win 3-0. You just look like a right mug. And Anna's has 11 assists. I've just checked it.
11 assists.
Not bad, is it?
No. Not bad at all.
For a player of his age, he's still got it obviously in his mind.
I think he's got 6 or 7 goals as well.
He's chipped in about 7 goals this season, which is amazing. And he's missed about 6 or 7 games as well over the course of the season.
And he's 33 years old as well, and
he just keeps himself so fit. If I were obviously Marcello knows best. Obviously, he's the coach. If I was managing Pablo, I'd have said, don't bother about tracking back. Don't tackle anybody. Just stay there and create all those balls that you do.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't waste your energy coming back, because he's that sort of player. You just want to look after him, don't you, a little bit? Yeah, but obviously, he does his defensive duties really well as well. So
yeah, he does.
Good old Grandad Pablo.
Yeah, Pablo Hernandez for me needs to be first name on a team sheet from now. It was just so good coming on.
It's going to be a big game for him tonight playing against it, because obviously when he played at Swansea and scored that goal, he didn't celebrate it, but I think it's going to be a big game for him tonight playing against his old club again. But hopefully he'll get another one over him as well by maybe scoring the winner again.
Yeah. I remember celebrating that goal in a pub down in Derby it was full of Swansea fans for some reason. They were fuming.
I was at.
I remember, yeah.
I missed that game. I didn't watch that game. I was at a Swansea Celtic game because I do quite a lot of work for them.
Oh dear.
Yeah, tell you what, it was amazing. Last Saturday I was at Swansea Celtic versus Nantwich, and they have Ricardo Fuller as their player to Nantwich, which is amazing. But I was the match announcer for the first time ever.
Nice one.
I was loving it.
You enjoy it?
I love it.
You didn't crack any jokes about the opposition or anything?
No, but because Swansea play in blue, so the song that they came out to, I'm blue.
There you go.
And then the goal music.
You can be creative, can't you?
Yeah, exactly. But getting on to the goal that we conceded, I mean, it was a poor one to concede, really. Ayling getting caught out of position, and George Friend is free on the wing.
Ayling's getting a lot of stick at the moment from a lot of.
I don't think
from the Twitter feed that I'm getting at the moment.
Yeah. Do you think?
I think he's okay. I just don't think he's performing at a level that he usually does. Yeah. Like he said in his press conference yesterday, instead of getting the odd 7 now, he's getting a bit closer to a 6 in his ratings. Yeah. But I don't think there's anybody to take his place. I know Shackleton does play at 2, but he's not really a full back as such. I like it when he's zipping about on the wing, Shackleton, when he comes on, because he's so fast. But I think Ayling, for me, it's just that I think fans are getting a bit worried now that things aren't going as smoothly as they were a few games ago. And they're just sort of nitpicking at certain players, and Ayling seems to be the guy that they're picking on at the moment.
Leeds fans love a scapegoat, don't they? Yeah. If it's not Ayling, it's Forshaw. If it's not Forshaw, it's Alioski. It's always something. If it's not Alioski, it's
Alioski got it in the neck a few times, didn't he? I mean, as soon as they started singing that song about Click as well, Click stopped scoring for some reason.
When he scored 2 goals against
Rotherham. When he gets 2 goals against Rotherham. But I think every player's had an up and down this season, really. And it's unfair to pick on one single player when we're not getting the results that obviously the fans want. I think Ayling is getting it at the moment, but it could be somebody else after, the next few games.
We're conceding a lot of goals at the moment, though, as well. We're always conceding first as well, which is really nice. I mean, the goal against Middlesbrough, George Friend's free, no one tracks him. Then he has plenty of time to find Lewis Wing in the centre, and no one's closing him down. And he has plenty of time to pick his spot in the goal, really. So, the problem's in defence currently, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, you need a consistent defence, though. I mean, Jack Douglas obviously is another guy who's sort of hasn't been performing that well recently. Sorry, Barry Douglas. Jack Douglas is.
I was just thinking.
Jack might be his dad, I don't know. But Barry Douglas, he's sort of injured at the moment as well. But even he admitted he wasn't playing to his best that he was sort of last season for Wolves.
Yeah. Do you think we see we're players out from injury. They've been really slow with Bamford and Brown because they've had multiple injuries and been out for quite a long time. With Ayling, he went straight into the Aston Villa game.
Yeah, which is unusual because Bielsa likes to put him in a couple of under 23 games first, but Ayling just came straight back.
Yeah, with a few of them, he's just rushing them back. Do you think that could be a problem there?
I don't think he's rushing them. To be fair, I think he is. I think he must have been confident that Ayling was okay. And to be fair, he started off okay when he came back. It's just the last sort of couple of games, and maybe we've been critical of him a little bit. But I think the overall defence, you could say Cooper maybe or Janssen haven't been 100% in a couple of aerial duels, but like I say, you're nitpicking if you're picking on certain things. Now it's just a matter of winning games, really. If you do concede, just make sure you get back into the game, or make sure you score first, because every time we score first, we seem to win the game.
We've not dropped a single point from when we've scored first.
It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah. So I just score first tonight.
And we've won.
We're still scoring every away game as well. But we lose as a team and win as a team, don't we? Scapegoat.
It's just getting to the critical stage of the season now. There's 15 cup finals to go basically between us and promotion. And with Pontus's presser yesterday, he seemed to be confident that all the squad were thinking it's going to be their time now to get promoted. So hopefully they'll put that into practice in the last 15 games.
For me, in the games though, it's down to the pressing, because we don't seem to press as well as we did earlier in the season. So we allow them to go on the opposition to go on these 20-30 yard runs through our midfield. And they're causing problems when previously, if they ran more than a few yards into our half, Phillips would have had him tackled.
I mean,
crunch him, yeah.
You cast your mind back to the Wigan game where there was that brilliant clip of just one player going for attack, and we're 2-1 up. We're playing really well, and it's really comfortable. And then you got about 7 or 8 players just ganging.
That was amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it is a bit weird. I feel as though the style of play has changed a bit. You know, we used
ever since the Spygate incident, when he can't look at other clubs now. You know.
now he's been.
That's what the press seem to be suggesting.
Yeah.
Ever since he's been caught out. Let's say caught out. Oh yeah, you seem to have lost a couple of games since that incident. Is it because you can't spy that on the teams anymore?
Smug journalists, the worst.
Yeah, you mentioned that. I mean, maybe when he's spying, he knows what teams are going to do. Now we seem to be sitting back and holding back for the first half. Maybe just to try and figure out what they are going to do. Maybe it is.
It's amazing because when you saw Norwich the other Saturday, it were like watching Leeds play, really. Except it was Norwich, unfortunately. They were doing to us what we've been doing to every other team in the league most of the season. So it was disappointing, really, that we'd let them get away with that.
Referee were poor in that game, though.
And the goals we conceded were awful, weren't they? Deflections.
The free kick probably knocked the wind out of our sails a bit. If we'd have got a bit further into the game at 0-0, I think we would have. And
the cruel incident when he could have been red carded for that.
And the fact that Ayling was denied a perfectly legitimate goal.
Yeah. It was just one of those nights where things weren't going to go our way, basically. We could have had a nice 6-point gap at the top and things could have been a bit more
and now we're 2 points
gentle.
behind.
We're 2 points behind.
Well,
back onto Middlesbrough game. So second half, I was quite worried when they went 1-0 ahead because knowing Middlesbrough and knowing Pulis, they were going to sit back, and that's what they did. And we started piling under pressure. We had a lot more of the ball, and I thought we were creating some really, really good chances. You know, we mentioned it earlier. Roof had one good chance. Bamford, he had a number of good chances.
Pontus hit the bar, didn't he, post with the header.
And that went on to Bamford.
But Randolph's got history with us, hasn't he? He's a good keeper. I remember, you guys probably won't remember, but he played at Hereford, did Darren Randolph. I remember us playing him at Elland Road in League One. And we absolutely battered him. If it hadn't been for Randolph in the goal, we would have won the game 7-0. In the end, we had to rely on Andy Robinson. You remember him from Swansea, the guy that we signed from Swansea.
Yeah.
He scored the winning goal, and everybody was so relieved. But everybody were looking at the keeper, thought that keeper is going to go far because he's absolutely amazing. Now he's an Irish international, and he's obviously playing for Middlesbrough. So he's done all right.
Didn't know he's Irish.
Well, he's got an Irish terrier apparently, so he qualifies.
It's amazing what get you into the Irish team on Jack Charlton rules.
Yeah.
Dan Randolph, very good goalkeeper. I was surprised actually when he went to Middlesbrough from West Ham because West Ham they only had him and someone else, and Randolph seemed to be the best keeper. What is it with Middlesbrough getting all these good keepers? I remember a few years ago they had Victor Valdez in goal. That was just madness.
Exactly, yeah.
Money, that's what it is.
But it was the difference between us winning quite comfortably and just sneaking a draw, really, I suppose. Yeah. But I'm surprised he didn't save Phillips' header. He hit him on the hands.
He got answer it, but yeah, I mean, I was getting worried because we were missing so many of these glorious chances. But then, of course, Colin Phillips, and we scored from a set piece as well.
The thing is, though, when you do get a late equaliser like that, it just feels like a victory, doesn't it? Because you've been losing 1-0 for such a long time, bombarding them with efforts. Then you get a late equaliser.
It's just relief, isn't
Everybody would just jumping up and down as if we'd won the game.
It's just a relief.
You just feel like you've got a moral victory then. So that hopefully you take that into your next game, that feeling, and take it into the performance.
Like Millwall earlier in the season with
same thing.
Jack Harrison about the 89th minute. The Millwall fans said we'd stolen a point when in reality Tyler Robertson missed 3 sitters and should have buried him.
Then you have your moments like Villa and Blackburn, don't you, where your heart sort of
Blackburn might be the best Leeds game I've ever been at.
I mean,
breathless.
That entire week, it took me so long to get over that 2-3-2 victories in the space
I just feel sorry
years.
For the hundreds of people that walked out after about 89, 90 minutes.
I don't
thinking we lost.
No,
when they got the second goal.
Never leave early.
No, I never leave early. No.
Never leave early.
Especially not with this team.
No, not with this team. But when they equalised, I thought, wow, we're going to get a point from this game. Then 30 seconds later?
There was 10 seconds left of added time and Kev scores the edit. It was just...
Why can't we do that every game? Just sort of clinch it in the last second.
half of Leeds will have heart problems by the end of the season.
I'd much rather win comfortably than score.
Yeah, but again, we haven't really trounced anybody. We beat Preston 3-0 and obviously Derby early in the season 4-1, but we haven't really taken anybody to task, have we, by giving him a good pasting. And
and a lot of people thought that we would at the start of the season. Watching how
but even Bielsa says it's difficult to beat teams by 2 or 3 in this league because you don't know if the top team's going to beat them. Like at Bolton last night beating Birmingham, just a bit of a
although I think we're second for chances created in this league, and I think we're in the top 2 for big chances missed, which shows you exactly where we're letting ourselves down.
Yeah, which makes you think, why didn't we just sort of try and get somebody in the January window that can get a few goals? But I know it's difficult to get a player in January.
I'm kind of hoping that'll be Bamford, really.
Yeah, Bamford.
Bamford feels like a new player, really.
Yeah, if he takes those missed chances against Borough in tonight's game, thinking, right, I'm a bit more match fit tonight. He might take one of those two chances he gets tonight. Hopefully, might be a difference. Yeah,
hopefully. We do need quite a lot of chances to score, which is one of the problems. But I mean, of course, after that result and the other results of the weekend, it means that we sit second in the Championship table, 2 points off of Norwich in first. And after Tuesday night fixtures, this is how the table stands. So we're in second. Sheffield United are in third, 3 points behind us. West Brom they are now 5 points behind us.
Should be 6.
Should be 6.
Bristol City as well. Fair play to them.
They got a lucky penalty as well.
2 lucky penalties last night. That's obviously. Hopefully, we'll get some of that luck tonight as well.
I can't believe it. Bristol City have won 9 games in a row after we pasted them at Elland Road.
They were awful at Elland Road, weren't they? We had Huffer in goal and Harmer in defence.
I mean, they had 10 men for like half an hour, which helped.
Yeah, it helped us a little bit. Yeah.
I made a mistake there. West Brom had just 4 points behind us.
Should be 5 then.
Bristol City 5th and 5 points behind us. So fair play to Bristol City. 9 wins in a row?
Well, they're on a good run of games anyway.
Hopefully they do slow.
We play them in a few weeks' time, don't we? So.
Can you see Frank Lampard's Derby captain in those playoff places? I don't think you can.
They're 7th right now, 1 point off now.
Yeah.
How far away is the 7th to 6th?
Just one point.
And how far away are they from second?
8 points behind us.
With a game in hand.
A lot of teams do have a game in hand on us.
Yeah.
So you're looking at 2 games there, really, aren't you?
Yeah, we have a game in hand on quite a lot of teams below us as well. Birmingham, Nottingham Forest.
The thing is, though, we've still got everything in our own hands. It's 8 home games, 7 away. We've got to play Sheffield, we've got to play West Brom, we've got to play Bristol City. We could just, Tell
you what, every home game apart from the Bolton game is against some massive teams. Sheffield Wednesday, some
Sheffield
Wednesday
is always tough, isn't it? Look, well, not a local derby, but a derby game. They're never easy.
Yeah. No, the last home game.
Our away games are actually a lot easier. I think we've got.
No, but it's away from home, which is.
It would be nice though, going to Ipswich on the last day, thinking we don't have to do anything.
Although it would be even nicer if they bottled the game on purpose, so we won the league and not Norwich.
Oh, yeah, that could be a good one.
Match fixing.
That could be a good.
Not match fixing, just
Sunday purpose.
Just let us win. We'll leave it at 1-0, lads. We won't embarrass you. You'll be down anyway.
That could be very interesting. Last game, definitely.
But that's how the table stands. Leeds United still in a good place, in my opinion. But not in the best of form though. Just 2 wins in our past 7 games now.
Yeah, I think you got to look at the overall season though. 17 wins, 7 draws, 7 defeats, or 17, thankfully. It's not a bad record, is it?
No.
With 15 games to go.
Yeah. I mean, we've 31 games played and we're second in the league.
And they've only lost 7 games all season. Yeah. A couple of those games when we were down to 10 men as well recently.
Forest.
So, yeah. Forest is a bit of a bad taste in the mouth, really. It's a game we should have won, really.
They should have been had 10 men when they stopped Jack Harrison in a goal scoring opportunity.
Yeah. And if they get a red card that early, then that changes the entire game.
Forshaw's back pass, what was he doing? But there was a debate about Forshaw coming back tonight, but he's not obviously fit enough.
No, he's injured.
And then he's on about a conundrum for Bielsa to pick Phillips or Forshaw in particular role, but it's a no-brainer.
There's no conundrum.
Phillips is the guy for the job, isn't he?
Play the guy in form.
But apparently Phillips and Forshaw together have had some good success this season. There's not many.
Forshaw's better in the click role.
Yeah, I think Click might need even though he did score 2 goals the other week, maybe he's due a little rest. Maybe.
I mean, press conference before the Middlesbrough game, Bielsa said that Click had a knock, but he started. I was a bit surprised.
He limped off when he went off. when he got subbed off.
There's been some strange comments recently because he said he took Pablo off against Norwich at half time for the team, really, to change the team, and then he didn't play he didn't play him in the next game because he said he was carrying a bit of an injury. So,
although in the Norwich game we fell apart after half time, I don't think it's a coincidence that we lost the tempo when he went off.
He says, instead of improving with his substitutions, they got worse. So that said it all, really.
But I mean, just 2 wins in 7 championship games. It's not good enough, really. It's not promotion.
It's not good enough, but they're still top 2, aren't they? So.
Yeah. But what do you think Leeds United need to change to try and start winning games a lot more regularly? That we're used to seeing.
They need to go back to what he was doing at the start of the season, really. Just high press, making loads of chances. Bamford's there now for the chances to obviously take away, put away. We just need that fluidity that we had at the start of the season.
Yeah, definitely.
And we needed to go on a 15-game unbeaten run.
If we just get that clinical edge, we'll walk this league.
Yeah.
Because we create so many chances, and we just blast them against the keeper. The one in the Norwich game, given we've been talking about that, when they scored their second goal and Kim Aroof basically kicked off and ran 40 yards forward through their entire team, and it came so close to scoring. But Tim Krul, an absolute worldie of a game. Annoyingly as well.
Annoyingly, because he was such a prat afterwards, wasn't he? But yeah.
No, we had the amount of chances where I think it was one where it was just a header off a corner, and it was about 2 or 3 yards to his right, and he didn't know anything about it. He just went like that and saved it.
He had one of those nights, didn't he? Yeah.
Those go in, then we were back in the game.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to the Leeds United under-23s then. We won't dwell on it too much, as they did lose 1-0 away at Sheffield Wednesday.
Apparently it was a fairly dull game, wasn't it?
Terrible game.
Yeah. But Izzy Brown, obviously, I think he was going to be taken off at half-time anyway, but he had a bit of a bad back or something.
Yeah, more children trying to injure him.
But he also did say that that he is going to feature on tonight against Swansea City, which is good. I mean, he was on the bench against Middlesbrough. He didn't come on, but it's good to see Izzy Brown involved with the first team again.
Yeah, because he's been making a difference in the under-23s by the sounds of it. He's been getting a few goals. He's been performing quite well. I remember him when he played for Rotherham when he came to Elland Road, and he was their standout player by a mile.
Huddersfield as well. He was great for Huddersfield against us.
Yeah,
annoyingly so.
He was. Yeah, he's a quality player, but you just need that Izzy Brown that's got that same sort of performance he had a season or two ago. You don't want to throw him in just for the sake of it.
No, I mean, I was watching some highlights of Izzy Brown back at Huddersfield, and there was some goals where he would just pick the ball up randomly on about 30 yards out and just go for a goal. I think it was a goal against Wolves, and he scored from about 30 yards out. Cracking finish, but it's like you just hope that it's the same Izzy Brown that plays for us.
Interestingly enough, he was brought in, wasn't he, originally to replace Saiz, because they thought Saiz might get a bit tired towards January. Not only did he get tired, he left.
Then he came out recently saying he didn't think twice about leaving.
He's saying the right things now to endear himself, isn't he? But it sounded like they had problems with Saiz at the start of the season. I think he was getting a bit homesick to go back to Spain.
Well, he wasn't fit. In fact, he was. I read some stuff in the Spanish media that Saiz is kind of a bit infamous over there for enjoying the nightlife, shall we say? He spends all his time drinking and clubbing and doesn't train particularly well. Yeah. I mean, we've had
not a Bielsa type of player.
We've had players like that in the past, because when was it Sheridan when Bremner was managing, just used to get drunk every weekend.
Yeah. But what a quality player he was, though. I remember Sheridan. He was one of our own players at the time, and he just oozed class, that guy. Yeah. Whether he was drinking or not.
You mentioned the unfit. He's been unfit. I was talking to Phil here back in the last year now, and he was saying, during training when they were at Thorpe Arch and they were training for all pre-season, everyone else is doing laps around the pitch and Saiz is so far back. He just doesn't have that right attitude or mentality, really.
I think the writing was on the wall that he was going to leave, and that's why they brought Brown in, thinking Brown might be fit by December, January time. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. But I think Izzy Brown is the natural number 10 to come into the team. Yeah, definitely. So it'd be nice if he maybe gets introduced a bit. Hopefully we won't need him to come on, but if he comes on, if we're leading 2 or 3-0, he comes on for 10 minutes just to get a bit of match fitness again. Yeah. It'd be nice for him for the maybe last 10 games of the season that we've got the old Izzy Brown back again.
Unfortunately for players like Saiz and you can't just have natural ability as a footballer. You do actually need to put some work in.
You need to work a little bit.
Because you get players who are not very good that work very hard and they do quite well. Like Gary Neville was a terrible player, but he worked really hard. So he got to the kind of rough standard where, because he was in a really good team, he looked pretty good. But he wasn't a good player.
Well, that's what Kevin Keegan used to say about himself. And he's won top awards all over Europe. He had to work hard to be a decent player. Some players just turn up and they're just good, aren't they? But he had to work really hard in training, If he became a top Liverpool player, England player, played abroad, and he won Footballer of the Year awards everywhere.
Yeah.
But he had to work really, really hard to be the good player that he was.
It's the same with any job, really. You work hard and then you get
the rewards.
Yeah. Interesting. You mentioned Kevin Keegan there. I've actually met Kevin Keegan. I was about 5 years old. I was at Escape up in Glasgow. And I was just sat on the table with all my family, and then he just comes over and starts talking to us.
Did he?
Yeah.
Nice.
But that was actually going to be my next question about Izzy Brown. You said hopefully we don't need to use him tonight. Do you think he should come on against Swansea tonight?
If we're in a comfortable position, I'd throw him on for whatever period of time it is. Say we're winning, hopefully, 2 or 3-0. With about
that'll be the day.
With about 15 minutes to go, I'd say, all right, go on, do your stuff, and see how he performs. But hopefully we won't have to throw him on, because we need to throw him on. It's one of those situations where all the fans want to see him in the team, but they want to see him in the team for the right reasons.
Yeah, we don't want to have to need to bring him on if we're chasing a game.
But it's nice to see him involved within the squad again, though, even though he didn't come on obviously on Saturday. When you see his tweets, he's wholeheartedly behind the team. He wants everybody to do well.
Definitely.
It'd be great to see him be part of by a March, April time that he's in the team really, and he's doing his magic.
I mean, a lot of people are saying, just send Izzy Brown back. There's no point in having him on the wages. We can bring him up. But Izzy Brown, if he's fit for the running, he'll be.
We've only just started paying him, to be fair. Because the deal with Chelsea was that we didn't really contribute to his wages until he was part of the first team. So
they were saying that on the I don't know if you listen to the Square Ball podcast.
Yeah.
They were saying as soon as Brown starts playing, we're gonna have to start giving Chelsea Football Club money, and I'm not massive fans of that.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to the preview for the big game tonight, as Leeds United take on Graham Potter's Swansea City side at Elland Road. It's an important game. Is this a must-win, or would you be happy with a draw? Is it just can't lose?
Obviously, the win is the big thing, really, I suppose. But as long as we don't lose, I suppose you can say, because we've still got we've got 10 games for the next game. But it'd be nice to wait over that 10-day period with a victory, and that we're still in the top 2. So I think a win is important. Obviously, we've got the Daniel James situation to deal with as well tonight.
Revenge.
Will he be playing against us? Will he score against us?
I've got nothing against him personally.
Personally, no.
No, it's the club. I don't like the club.
If he plays tonight, he'll score a few own goals.
Yeah, they're on about Matt Burney being doubtful, which means he'll be playing tonight. And he ran as rigid, didn't he, at Swansea?
I just don't like Colin McBurney. There's nothing I like about him. I don't like his social media.
He's meant to be a Leeds fan, is he?
Well, I don't think so.
I don't like the whole kind of skinny caveman look he's got going on.
I think a win is important tonight, though, because it's a 10 day wait before the next game, so it's a home match. We've got to get over that Norwich performance as well.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, for me, if we draw, then we at least stay in the top 2 after this next round of fixtures. If we draw,
yeah. Well, David Prutton, writing in the Yorkshire Post reckons, Yorkshire Evening Post reckons it will be a draw. Everybody thinks Leeds are going to sort of walk it tonight, but.
I've not seen anybody saying that. I don't think we'll walk it. I think it'll be a hard graft, kind of a horrible atmosphere. I do think we'll win, though. I think it'll be 2-1.
Yeah, well, predictions coming up at the end, Charles.
All right, I'll leave.
It's giving ahead too much.
You might change your score.
What down all these notes? Yeah, I hope you may change the score after I've read out all this. But yeah. For me, 2 very similar teams coming up. Both teams. I mean, well, Leeds United used to. Press high, keep like possession of the ball. But then Swansea, they create so many chances and fail to score quite a lot of them. We saw against Millwall in the last game where they beat them 1-0 at home. They had so many chances that they just failed to put away. And Swansea also struggle at set pieces as well, which I know we scored from a set piece against Middlesbrough. But for me, 2 very similar teams coming up tonight.
Yeah, they are, because they play. They'll be trying to get us on the break, I should imagine. Got some good quality players in the team, including James. It won't be easy, but I think with it being a home game followed by another home game, we've got to start winning at home now and just maybe pick up points when we can away from home. But it's crucial that we get a good home run going again.
We've got to be thinking about 9 points in the next 3 games.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the 2 games after this: Bolton at home, Queen's Park Rangers away the following Tuesday. 2 very winnable games there, and you don't want to go into those on the back of a negative result. And if we can get a win, especially at home tonight. and then go to those 2 games where you'd expect Leeds United to win. Those 3 wins, those could be massive, and get a nice run going. Who knows what's kind of winning streak you could go on.
Yeah, I mean, I know West Brom got a lucky penalty last night, but obviously they still only managed a draw against Forest. That's on top of that 2-3 home defeat against Middlesbrough a couple of weeks ago. Obviously they beat Stoke away in the meantime, which we should have done.
That was a bad game.
It was, yeah, unfortunately. Bristol City can't stop winning at the moment, so they're on a good run of form.
Yeah, but Hull did the same thing, didn't they? They went on a massive winning run, and now they've stalled. So you got to think Bristol City might do the same, because the Lee Johnson sides are very streaky. They're either winning loads in a row or they're losing loads in a row.
Yeah.
So and they've been on a 7-game losing run already this year. So you can obviously this will come to an end at some point, and they will lose a lot of games.
In other words, this is the chance for Leeds to get promoted this season. So, lads, if you're listening, take it, please.
Yeah, please do. But I mentioned, Leeds wanted to go on a run, but Swansea want to go on a run as well. I've noticed Swansea very inconsistent this season. You look at their past 3 games, the 3-3 draw, then they lost, and then the last game beat Millwall 1-0 at home. So a draw, win and loss in the past 3 games, very inconsistent. But they are 11th in the league and just 6 points off the playoffs on 44 points. So they'd be wanting to try and build from that Millwall win, get a run going, and maybe push for the top 6.
I think there's a lot going behind the scenes there at the moment as well, with Hugh Jenkins resigning as chairman. Surprise, surprise.
After ruining our transfer window.
I think they'll just want to consolidate themselves in this league this season, to be fair. I think playoffs is a bit ambitious for them, even with the squad they've got. So,
although they'll only be, I think, 3 points off if they win tonight.
Yeah, and they did beat. I think I watched the live game against Sheffield United, and Sheffield United absolutely, they're all over them, but they lost 1-0. So they're that sort of team, aren't they, Swansea?
Yeah.
Sheffield United were pretty all over us, but we beat them 1-0 at their place as well.
They were a funny team. Obviously, they were all over Aston Villa on Friday.
Until the 82nd minute.
I'll tell you what, that was great. I was messaging you, Charles, all night.
That was unbelievable. I've never seen a guy get a Man of the Match award, get a hat-trick and look so miserable.
Imagine going away from home, scoring a hat-trick. Although it shouldn't have been a hat-trick. That second goal shouldn't have counted. He kicked the ball out of his hands, and he was offside. Goes away, scores a hat-trick. You're 3-0 up, you go off with 10 minutes to go, then your team...
I know Dean Henderson was pointing at himself walking off the pitch, wasn't it, as if to say, it's down to me, that, sorry guys. But he's made a couple of boo-boos, hasn't he, over this course.
And he's been linked with Juventus.
Well...
To be fair, there's nothing that cheers me up quite like both Billy Sharp and Blades fans being miserable.
I was messaging you, Joe Charles, going, "Hey, Sheffield United can do it here." They'd scored 1 goal and then they got a second so soon after, and I was like,
having said that, it was nice to see him get lose points on Friday, but I thought they were great at Norwich when they were singing to the Norwich City fans, "We don't like a snitch" and stuff like that. And getting a point there and changing the dressing room, putting paper up on the walls to get rid of the pink.
Respect to Sheffield United for not going to the EFL saying, "Oh, we want an
not crying to the EFL." And obviously the manager Wilder as well saying, "What's the problem?" He's done what most managers probably want to do. Yeah. So they've been great to us as a club, but it was nice to see him lose points on Friday still all the same.
Yeah. But going on to the Swansea game then, so the lineups then, I think the only change we were expecting, I think Phil Hay tweeted it yesterday, that the only change will be Hernandez in for Clark, which I guess is bonus. Hernandez playing against his former team, but what would you like to see any other changes in the lineup?
I think Pablo transformed the game a little bit on Saturday, so you can't. If he's even 90% fit, I'd stick Pablo in because he can transform a game, can't he? Yeah. Maybe let's see Click have a bit of a rest, but then again he might, turn his form round in a game. So
yeah, like he did against Rotherham.
Like he did against Rotherham, he took his goals really well that day. So no, I won't tinker too much with it unless unless Izzy Brown was 100% fit. I think I'd obviously consider putting him in the team, but.
He won't start.
I think it's just nice that Bamford is back, really.
Would you keep Bamford in the starting lineup?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Bielsa's announced this team now, so we know Bamford's there. I would do. I think as soon as Bamford is 100% match fit, he'll He's a class forward, really. He just took away when he does get a chance, he usually tucks them away.
And I mean, to say that he's not 100% match fit, he played 90 minutes. 112 minutes on Saturday against Middlesbrough.
He did, yeah. So he must have got a bit of energy from that to take him tonight, hopefully. It'd be nice to see him on top form tonight.
Yeah, the only change that I would have wanted was Shackleton in that right back for Ayling. That's just
people keep saying that, but he defended Ayling so much yesterday that
it's not going to happen.
It won't happen now.
I'd like to see Roberts in for Click.
Yeah. A game against Norwich, the only standout player for me was Tyler Roberts. He was so good in that.
Well, we have a match of the day thing on the Trust website, and Roberts was so close to getting it against Norwich. Bamford got it because he's obviously got the winning goal.
Yeah, and hit the bar.
We got the consolation goal, should I say, hit the bar.
I wish it had been the winning goal.
Yeah, it would have been nice. I think Roberts has showed a bit of class in a few of his games.
He's very technical. He's got turns.
He's only just turned 20 as well. He's only a kid, you know.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Just needs to get that weight of pass correct. If he's going to play number 10, he needs to get the passing spot on, and hopefully he can learn.
He
that
does overhit his passes, doesn't he?
The thing with the squad overall, though, he's hardly tweaked his squad from last season. Look where we are, you know. It's just unbelievable, isn't it?
Unbelievable work.
Yeah. To the point where we'll all be really annoyed if we finish in the playoffs, which hasn't been the case for about 10 years.
Tell you what, I want to propose something though, because going forward, I wouldn't mind seeing a change in formation for Leeds United. I'd love us to go 4-2-3-1 and go two holding midfielders, but make one of them be box to box. That's my opinion, because for me, we're so short. Like we always seem to be midfield just seems to be non-existent at times.
Not for me. 4-1-3-2. I'd go for two up front. Roof and Bamford.
I think he's got a decision to make if Forshaw's fit, because he does like Forshaw, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does, definitely.
And I think he will put him back into the team as well, but not for the.
You want Phillips to stay in there.
You don't want Phillips to be out of the team either, so you'll have to accommodate them both, I think.
Yeah, so maybe if you go 4-2-3-1, you go Phillips and then Forshaw next to him. Forshaw is that type of box-to-box player, and he's the type of player who can launch a pass. I mean, he's got the best passing accuracy in the Championship.
Mainly because all his passes are to Casilla. Bathead, and most of them, some of them don't reach him.
Poor Bailey.
But that's just my opinion. But predictions. So, Charles, are you still going to stick by 2-1?
I am going to go 2-1. I'm going to go Patrick Bamford and Pablo Hernandez to score.
Kev?
I think with the feeling towards Swansea at the moment, I think the crowd will be really up for it tonight. Get behind a team like Aka Derby. It could be a 3-0, I think. Yeah. And everybody's happy again.
Yeah, hopefully.
I don't know who's going to score. Hopefully Bamford, one of them.
I'm not as optimistic as you, Kev. I'm going to go 2-1 as well with Charles.
Hey, we called it correctly for Borough as well. We called 1-1 for Borough, both of us.
I said either. What did I say? I thought
I definitely said 1-1.
Yeah, and I was like, I can see it being 1-1, but I hope 2-1 for Leeds, because they never go against Leeds.
No, never.
I wouldn't say a draw's going against Leeds. You just have to take your points.
Yeah, it's hard to say defeat against Leeds. You think, what are you doing? You want Leeds to lose? But yeah, I know what you mean.
But Kev, final question for you. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Oh yeah.
Will Leeds United get promoted this season?
Yes.
Will they do it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I'm saying that with my fingers crossed. Well, this is the great opportunity to do it. I mean, we're talking about automatic promotion for Pete's sake, not through the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, under Monk, we thought, oh yeah, we're going to do the playoffs. Let's get to the playoffs. Now we're thinking,
let's not get the playoffs.
Bugger the playoffs. Let's get promoted automatically. This is probably the best chance I'll ever have of getting automatic promotion. Definitely. And I think with Pontus's press conference yesterday, I think the players know that. And I think with the 15 games to go, 8 home games, it's in their own hands now. It's down to them to do it.
Yeah. Tell you what, isn't it ironic how the last time we went up second in the division was back in League One and Norwich were top of the table?
Yeah. And even more ironic, back in 89-90, we went up as champions and Sheffield United were runners up. I think I'd like that a bit better.
Two Yorkshire clubs, isn't it?
Yeah. At the end of the day.
Well, hopefully Leeds United can do it. But that brings us to the end of this episode of the podcast. Thank you very much for listening as always. Thank you to Charles, as ever, for joining me.
Thanks for having me on again.
Thank you very much, Kev, for joining us.
Thanks, guys. It's been great. Thank you very much.
Hi, great stuff. So yeah, thanks to everyone who's downloaded and listened. Really do appreciate it. Don't forget to give us a 5-star rating on iTunes if you can do. Don't forget to follow All Things Leeds across all of our social media pages. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you have not already. Now, we will be back next week where me and Charles are joined in the studio by Andrew Stolton. So make sure you listen. We'll see you next week.